This interview is a work of fiction and intended solely for entertainment purposes. The responses attributed to Gestas, the impenitent thief, are entirely imagined, and any resemblance to real events or persons, living or deceased, is purely coincidental. The content presented here is not meant to convey actual historical facts or suggest supernatural communication with the dead.
We sit down with Gestas, the impenitent thief, who, according to the Gospel of Luke, was crucified alongside Jesus Christ. Unlike his counterpart, Dismas, the penitent thief, Gestas is known for mocking Jesus, rejecting the opportunity for salvation in his final moments. However, in this reflective interview, we ask Gestas about his life, his final moments, and how he views everything in hindsight. Could his story offer insights or lessons for the modern viewer?
Who were you before you were crucified?
I was a thief, plain and simple, not some noble bandit like the stories tell. I took what I wanted, never cared for who it hurt. My life? A series of choices, all selfish. Survival in the Roman Empire wasn't kind to men like me, so I chose to be unkind, right back.
What led you to the cross?
Robbery, mostly, but not just petty theft. I'd take anything, from anyone, even if it meant violence. Eventually, you can't run forever. The Roman guards caught me, sentenced me to crucifixion, the most brutal of punishments.
Why did you mock Jesus when you were on the cross?
I was filled with bitterness, anger. It's hard to describe the rage you feel when you're looking death in the face. I knew my end was coming, and there was Jesus, all quiet and holy, talking about salvation. In that moment, I didn't want salvation. I wanted someone to feel my suffering, and mocking him. It was my way of lashing out.
Did you ever regret mocking him, even for a moment?
Regret? Sure, I felt it. But it was buried deep behind my pride. When you're a criminal your whole life, you get good at hardening your heart. I wish I'd softened it that day. Maybe I could have died with a little more peace.
Did you feel any jealousy towards Dismas, the other thief who found redemption?
Jealousy? Yeah, but not at first. I thought Dismas was a fool for seeking forgiveness. But when he found that peace, when Jesus promised him paradise, I felt it. This ache in my chest, like I'd missed the chance for something I didn't even know I wanted.
What was it like to witness the crucifixion of Jesus?
Terrifying. Not because of the physical suffering, that's something we were all going through, but because of the way he accepted it. I've never seen someone embrace death like that, without fear, without anger. It made me question everything, but by then, it was too late.
If you could go back, would you have done anything differently in your final moments?
Without hesitation, I would have kept my mouth shut and listened. I would have let go of my pride, my anger. But when you're hanging on a cross, you feel invincible in your misery. It's strange. Looking back, all I needed was a moment of humility, and I couldn't muster it.
Did you ever believe in God before that day?
I didn't give God much thought. It wasn't that I didn't believe, more that I didn't care. My world was about survival, and there was no place for faith in that. I thought religion was for the weak, but now, I know I was wrong.
What was going through your mind as you faced death?
Fear. Pure, raw fear. I had lived my life thinking I was untouchable, but when death stared me down, all I could think about was what came next, and I wasn't ready.
Were you aware of the significance of Jesus' crucifixion at the time?
Not fully. We all heard stories about him, but to me, he was just another man sentenced to die. It wasn't until those final hours, the way the earth seemed to react to his death, that I realized this was something bigger. But by then, I had already sealed my fate.
If you could speak to modern-day criminals, what would you say to them?
I'd tell them that it's never too late to change, until it is. I thought I had all the time in the world to live my life how I wanted, but the truth is, you don't know when your end will come. Don't wait until you're staring death in the face to realize what matters.
Do you think Jesus would have forgiven you if you had asked?
Without a doubt. I mocked him, spat words of hatred at him, and yet, I believe he would have forgiven me. That's the thing about him. I didn't understand it then, but I do now.
What do you think happens after death?
I never believed in an afterlife until I died. Now, I know there's more. What that is, I can't say for certain, but I know there's something beyond, and I didn't make it to where I wanted to be.
What was your relationship with Dismas before that day?
We were criminals together. Partners, you could say. But he had a different heart than I did. He wasn't as lost as I was. I see that now.
Why do you think you were labeled the impenitent thief?
Because I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't repent. I chose pride, bitterness. Dismas opened his heart. I closed mine. Simple as that.
Do you think you were beyond redemption?
No one is beyond redemption, not even me. The only thing that put me there was my own refusal to seek it.
What would you say to someone who's lost hope in their life?
Hope can be found, even in your last moments. I lost my chance, but you don't have to. If you're alive, you can still turn things around.
If you could speak to Jesus now, what would you say?
I'd ask for forgiveness. I'd tell him I was wrong, that I was a fool to mock him. I'd ask for the peace I saw in Dismas, because I know now that I need it.
Do you believe in forgiveness after death?
I believe that forgiveness is possible, but it has to be sought in life. You can't wait until after you're gone. I missed my chance, and I carry that with me.
How do you want to be remembered?
As a warning, as the man who had the chance for salvation and threw it away. I want people to remember me as a cautionary tale, so they don't make the same mistakes I did.
This interview with Gestas, the impenitent thief, reminds us of the weight of our choices and the potential for redemption even in the darkest moments. Let his story serve as a lesson to seize the opportunities we have for reflection and change while we still can. Subscribe to the Afterwords for more interviews with figures from history, both real and imagined, as we explore the lessons they leave behind.